to share with you. If you are new to the channel, we recycle with all, we create with all recycled materials, fabrics, and supplies. And if you're coming back, thank you so much for coming back. I totally enjoy your comments, your ideas, your suggestions. And we're kind of in the crunch, what I want to call the crunch period right now, where all of us designers are getting everything last minute together, and this is the time, a week and a half before, or we're getting to a week. Tomorrow it will be 1 week to the art hop. Now this is an advertisement. This was in the 7 days, and I just wanted to show it to you. For any of you who are not in Vermont, you do not get the 7 days. This is a newspaper that is really well known. And so it's just saying it's the 33rd annual South End Art Hop. And September 5th, 6th, and 7th. I'll be there for the fashion show on the 5th, and then I'll be there on the 6th. So on the 6th, the designers had the option, if they wanted to set up a table, you know, to just kind of say, hey, I'm here, or maybe to sell some of their wares. So you have kind of that opportunity there. And then it says more info at siba.com. So if you want to join us over there, check it out. I know some of you who have been watching are like, oh my gosh, Carmella, I've seen that now. But I probably, as long as I'm prepping for the show, I'll probably share that with you every time I start the video. But okay, let's get to it. So for those of you who love your granny squares, you know that I made this one. Let me just pull this here. From the yarn that I got at the thrift shop, the vibrant, beautiful 100% yarn, 100% wool yarn from Peru. So this is what the granny square is looking like. Now, this is pretty much what I do. You can make this any size you want. But ultimately, what happens with this is I first sew it just like this. You can do back to back, or you can just fold it and sew it. For me, it doesn't matter if you want the seam out or you want the seam in. It's up to you. But once you do that, what you have now made is basically, I'll put it this way, I'm sorry. It's basically a fingerless glove. So your thumb will go through, like, whichever. I might add one more row to this particular one, but this is how it goes. This is absolutely lovely. It's comfortable. Okay, so I'm making a pair. So I got on here to share with you the second one that I'm making of this. Okay, so I kind of was going along with the kind of thinking, well, maybe I just want one on one wrist, okay? That's what I kind of was thinking, or maybe I want them mismatched. And then I thought, you know what? I'm not known as a designer. So if I go, I think there's one outfit, I might just go with one. But for overall, I'm going to make two. So I did my green. So all you do is your 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets, chain 2, and you're going to do 4 sets of those. Okay, and then we're just going to stay with our J hook, and I'm going to follow the same pattern that I used on this one. So the next one would be this lovely magenta. So we're going to go with this. Oh, one of my friends said this is hot pink. And it, and yes, it can be this, absolutely, I do believe it's in that category. And so I was thinking it was just a tad little, like it had a little blue in it. So now there's a couple ways you can start this, okay? The typical way is, yes, chain 3, 1, 2, 3. That 3 counts as a 1 double crochet. Now what I was doing yesterday with this, and then I'm going to do 3 double crochet. What I did with this one is I just started right off the bat double crochet. No, it does not affect it to the point where you're like, oh my gosh, I got to pull that all out because I didn't do the chain 3. The only reason they do the chain 3 is they want to give you a little leeway, a little room for the yarn to move. But it's fine if you did the double crochet right off the bat. So we do 3 double crochets, chain 2, and then in the same corner, the same space, you're doing 3 more double crochets. So we're going to try to finish this one together today. And if you are out there and you are crocheting, you have any questions, and maybe I can help you. Okay, so after you start a row, and you're starting with 3 chains, and then you're doing your 2 double crochets, 2 chains, and then 3 double crochets. You're just going to do your double crochets all the way around. You don't have to worry about saying, oh, I've got to do three chains every time I start a new set of double crochets. No. You just do, so here's 1 double crochet. Here, I'll hold this up and be mindful of holding this up and telling you what I'm doing. Okay, so I just did 2 sets of 3 double crochets with a chain 2. Now I'm doing chain 2, and I'm going in the very next space. That's a space. You want to look for your spaces, and I'm just repeating that same thing. I'm doing 3 double crochets, chain 2. Oops, I gotta keep pulling this. Make sure. Now, something else I used to make, and I don't know if any of you remember this, how long some of you have been with me, but I made Japanese, I'm trying to think of the name of it. Anyway, they were sling bags. I folded them, I tied them, and I untied all of them. And I stopped trying to sell them because they were not going. I was making tiny little ones, I was making larger ones, and then I'm like, you know what, that's some really good fabric just sitting like tied. So I might be making a few of those for this particular show, only because I was making them for so long and they're just so lovely. I used a lot of them. I used, not a lot, I used like several of them for my own shopping. Okay, so now this is, let me just clip this and tie this. Now as you go along, if you can, tuck in your ties. It helps a lot. Now these are really long. These do not need to be particularly that long. You do want them about 2 to 3 inches though. Okay, so this is with the second row. Let's just see how this is matching up. Okay, let's just make sure it's not too off of the mark, and that's lovely. Okay, I'll tell you something that's very common to do is to pick up your work and you start with just slightly different size crochet hook. It happens all the time. But okay, now when you get to your second row like that, you want to be super careful because you do have spaces. You see, you have a space here, and then you have your corner space, okay? that's the space you want to focus on. See, I almost picked up a small. You want to focus on your corner space. Pick any corner. And let me just get the yarn here. And then you continue, okay? So, see, this is going to be your third row. I'm just staying with the same color pattern. So, now, when you start this row, this is what I was talking about. First, let's do our little slip knot, and you can do this any way you want. So when you start a new row, you're going to go chain 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that represents 1 double crochet. And again, the only reason why they do the chains like that is they want to make sure that it's has enough room, that it's going to how should I say, not be too short, okay? But I have done it with double crochet right off the bat because I have forgotten, and it totally works. It's not going to be too tight or too short. So, okay, now I can go ahead and start my double crochets. So 2, that chain 3 is considered 1 double crochet, and then 2 double crochet, and then 3 double crochet. And then chain 2. This is a very typical granny square. And then double crochet 1, double crochet 2, and double crochet 3. Okay, so now you've got another corner, and now you're going to chain 2, and you're going to say, oh, well, wait a minute, now I just have 1 space. Okay, so what you're going to do there is just 3. It's a fly. That fly? It's been in my video for the past 3 days. So now I'm just going to do 3 double crochets in that space. Okay, the only time I do 2 sets of double crochets are on my corners. You know you're on your corner because you can see right there. You got 2 double crochets. Okay, so chain 2, 1, 2. And then we go in our space between those 2 sets of double crochets. 1 double crochet, 2, and 3. So that's how we go along. And I'm just going to kind of go along like that with you. And we will complete this granny square. And what I do, now you can do this, you can add beads, I add what they call loop-de-loops, and I'll show you what I mean. Anyway, they're just like frilly little frills. So you can just add like whatever you want to make your design lovely. And if you're just starting, it does take absolutely time to get oriented to creating a certain design. But once you've made it, if you've made it over and over and you're practicing it, then it's like it's not such a burden, you know what I mean? It's actually joy, and you're designing and you're just moving along. So, but yeah, you can add beads, you can add buttons, you know, for decor, and many other different things, maybe more fabrics somehow, tying little bows, or, you know, whatever. I mean, you want to dress up your granny squares. Granny squares are so lovely that they just really, like, nobody thinks to add anything because you really don't need, I mean, it's just gorgeous the way it is, right? It's just adorable. And the most common mistake with the granny squares is that you get to your corner here and you do 1 set of your 3 double crochets, and then you move on, and then you're like, oh, you may go, you know, to come to the next row, you're like, oh man, I didn't realize, and then you pull it back and add your, now you can, depending what you're doing. You know what I mean? If you're making it and selling it, you're probably, it won't take you too long to just pull it out and go back to that one corner and correct it. If you're making it for yourself and you're like, oh man, that corner, I only did 3 double crochet, you may just you'll notice that it won't make too much of a difference. And so, for yourself, you may leave it. Okay, so now we finished that row. Okay, let me clip this. And you see how fast granny squares go? It's ridiculous. It seriously is. It's like ridiculous. So you want to make sure that you just pull that through, and then take time to weave it in the back. A lot of times what I do is I will weave these two, one towards the other, and I'll tie it in a nice little knot, and then I'll take each strand and weave it in and out. And I think the highest quality of weaving it in and out is using an embroidery needle that has a sharp tip. Okay, so you can split in between the strand so it hooks. Now this is 100% wool, so this is totally going to hook way better than your average. Acrylic's not going to hook. Acrylic is not going to hook into itself. This is beautiful yarn. So what I mean is that when you're weaving it in and out, this strand, let's say you weave it through here, it's going to hook over time. It will agitate and just hook nicely. So in other words, these strands kind of won't work their way out so easily or at all. So, okay, now look, we're up to blue, okay? Whoops. We're at the blue. How lovely is that? And now we just need our green. So I'm going to take the green, I'm going to put it down here so I have a little room for it to unravel. And we're going to start, we can pick any corner we want here. I keep getting these strands. I think I'm pulling them onto the, I keep pulling them onto the wrong side. Sorry about that. There we go. So pick any corner, but in between your sets of 2 double crochet, sets of 3 of your double crochets. And you can, some people do a little slip stitch and then start, and so do your chain 3, 1, 2, 3. So that counts as your first double crochet. And then from there you just make your double crochets, count them, and just make sure you're doing your spaces. So 1, 2, this is the 3rd double crochet, and then we're going to chain 2. And now in the same space, we're doing double crochets again. 3 of them. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and we're going to chain 2. And this is our next space. So it's just a space. So we're going to put 3 double crochets there. That's 1 set of 3. The only time you do 2 sets is on your corners. We're going to get more yarn here, and we're going to chain 2. And here we have another space. And you notice this grows exponentially. It's like you can make a blanket literally in a couple of hours. Absolutely in a couple of hours, especially if you use a large hook and you use chunky crochet, chunky yarn. You can have a blanket easily in a couple of hours. So now we're on the corner again, your corner space, and I made 1 double crochet, 2, 3. I'm going to chain 2, and I'm staying in the same space. And I am doing another set of double crochet of 3. 1, 2, 3. This is 3. Okay. Look how lovely that is. And then we chain 2. And now you can make the granny square as big as you want. You can measure, I recommend, this is what I recommend, measure your hand, and then as you're going along, keep measuring your granny square. Try it on your hand, or if you have a measure, lay it down to the measure, because you're looking at the full length of this, which becomes a diameter, right, when you fold it and sew it. So if you want a diameter of typically for women, it's 7.5, and you got to remember with yarn, you get a little bit of a stretch. So about 7, 7.5, or 8. And if it goes larger than that, add your rows. Add your rows. Measure after each row, because the hook that you're using and the yarn you're using, it all makes a really big difference. You can make this same thing with a lighter weight yarn, not so stretchy, a smaller hook, and you're going to need more rows. Okay, so it's just like that. But to know how many, you're going to want to keep testing it and measuring. So, sorry about that. My hand was kind of going down below sitting on the table, basically, is what it was doing. So I do the whole granny square, and then I tuck in my tails or weave them in and take my time and just do a nice job. But will I do 2 or 3 granny squares and then go do the tails? Absolutely not. No way. Because that's going to take forever. You want to do after you make that granny square, take care of those tails, because you will get so frustrated. Anyway, possibly. Just it's a possibility because it takes so long to do that. So for those of you who are just coming in, are you familiar with the granny squares? Did you catch what I was doing here? Or do you have any questions? I do not block mine. Someone was asking that last night. I have blocked them. I made a bag of teeny tiny little from teeny tiny little granny squares, and I blocked them, and it did help. But the bag was a good size. I have it somewhere. I'll have to get that and show you sometime. I still have that particular bag. When I make something that I'm kind of thinking like creating, and I'm not sure how I'm trying to figure out how to create it, I will keep that. I will keep that that piece of art, because it especially if I want to make it again. Okay, so we're done with this round, but look how fast that went. And I know it's not all about how fast you can go. Let me click this. But it does go, it goes really fast, these granny squares. It just is the way it is. Okay, so let's see. This is the first one we did. Let's see how we're doing with size. Okay, we're doing really good. Yeah, that's like right on. So we only have one more row to do, and I'm doing this in real time. The only thing I did was my beginning here, because I wanted to measure it and just make sure I did grab the right hook. So, because I put a hook down, pick it up, and I may change it for some reason. Okay, so now we're going to do the magenta, and then I'm going to show you how to do the loop-de-loops. And, I don't know if I should save that for the next video, and I'm going to tell you why. because I have to figure out how I want to, I'm going to show you in a minute. There's a couple of different ways that you can sew this together. So that's why. And I'm not deciding which way yet. So now, look, what you want to do is pick a corner where you have your 2 double sets of double crochets. Pick your corner and start. So you're going to start there. You're going to first do 1 chain. You're going to do 1, okay? 1. And then you're going to do 1, 2, 3. That first one is just to secure it, okay, to start your next row here. So that counts as 1 double crochet. Now you're going to do a full double crochet. So that's 2. And then 3. Now I'm going to chain 2, and I'm staying in the same space. I'm staying in the corner, okay, and I'm doing 3 more double crochets. So I have 2 sets of 3 double crochets. And I'm going to chain 2. Now you're going to notice on this row, you see how you have more spaces? You have a space here, you have a space here, you have a space here. Each of those spaces, you're doing just 3 double crochets with 2 chains in between. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3 double crochet. And then I'm chaining 2. I chain 2, and I'm going to the next space. Those chains give you space, give you length to get into the next space. And so you're creating your rows. And then chain 2, 3 more double crochet. You see how fast it goes? It's ridiculous. And so sorry about that. It's my phone, and it will stop. And that's the dryer. So I'm going to take 1 second to stop that, and then we'll continue our granny square. Okay, now we'll be able to hear a little better too. Okay, so now, so we are on the last space. So we did chain 2, and now we are at another corner. So this is where you're going to do, again, 3 double crochets. So there's 1, 2, 3, and then chain 2. You see how fast these go exponentially. Every time you go around, you have increased the size of your whatever it is you're making your granny square. Okay, so chain 2. See, there's your corners. And now we've got these spaces, and we're just going to do 3 double crochets again. So we're going to go on like that, and then I'm going to show you the couple of different ways that you can do the closure. Okay, so there's a couple of different ways, and I'm probably, what I usually do, I do this after I finish my piece. I take like an hour and go to another project that I'm working on, and then I'll come back and look at it, and that gives me some downtime to figure out how do I want to do that closure. Sometimes there's no thought at all, and it's just very simplistic. I'm just going to do it. But with this, I'm kind of thinking about it for a bit, because to be honest, I'm thinking of something maybe like ribbons. Okay, like I said, you can adorn this any way that you want. You can use buttons. Now, if you're a sewist, and I mean, I don't know about a zipper, but I mean, hey, you know what I mean? Creativity is creativity. But typically what people do is use an embroidery needle, take the yarn and weave it in and out, um, and either with the seam being on the outside or the seam being on the inside. So um, that is like totally up to you, because there's outfits out there where the seam of a t-shirt or something is showing. That is a style. It's an aesthetic, right? It's just a lovely, and it kind of gives that kind of raw look. And actually, I see it more in the fashion of streetwear than I've seen it anywhere, to be honest. That's where I've seen it. I don't know, how about you? Have you seen that style where the seams are showing? Um, and do you like that? Do you like that style? And I like it. I've used it in my granny squares with the seams showing, and just it didn't look like streetwear at all. It just didn't. It wasn't vibing like that. It was just vibing a little vintage. And I do a lot of mixed styles, aesthetics, skills, methods. Everything's mixed, where I'm pulling from historical cultural arts and traditional methods of creating. And and that's way, I mean, that's just a fun way to do it. So now we're on the last row, okay, and you see how very quickly it's going. So again, in your spaces that are in between the corners, just do your set of 3 double crochets. Now there's many ways to do granny squares, and some of them may use single, double, and triple to kind of make a nice little flower, different ways to what I want to say, make scallop, like a scallop type of crochet going around. So I'm doing, that's kind of why I was going back and forth today, if I should do the loop-de-loops or the scallops. So I think I may come back on when I've decided which I'm doing, and then just bring you with me on that, because I'm not sure. And or you can just do like a single crochet going around and in a different color, and then you have a nice little border around your granny square, nice edging. So, okay, so when you are on your very last space there, you just do your 2 chains again, and then you just put your crochet hook in the top part there, right? And let me just click this, and then you're going to pull this through and close it. Now, if you are off a tiny little bit on your sizing, if it's so little that people can't notice, then you're okay. So we'll put these together, and yeah, look. I mean, look. These are lovely. Look, I gotta tie I mean, this is just, yeah. So what these granny squares are going to be is and I'm debating if I should do one more row, but basically you just put them, you're gonna fit them on, and you're gonna, usually what I do is I pick like a row I want to put my thumb through, and then what I'm going to do, see, we got all these ties here, but basically I'm going to close this. Now you can close this a couple different ways. You can close it straight down with stitching. Okay, you could put a nice little ribbon. That's kind of what I'm toying with right now. Or you can do little buttons. It depends. You can make the edges here kind of ridged, so they're protruding out, or you can fold it backwards and have them go in, or you can do a whole nother row of a border. So you're kind of like, what would look really nice here would be a nice black yarn going around in just a single crochet stitch all the way around, or you can pick one of these colors. I mean, it doesn't matter, so much you can do. But anyway, that's what these are going to be, are fingerless gloves. And so that's what yeah, and I'll come back and show you how I adorned these. So with that, I hope that inspires you a little bit. And look how fast we made that. Okay, we've been on here half an hour, so boom. And so in an hour, you can make a set, pretty much. Okay, so with that, you have an absolutely beautiful day. Thank you for being with me, and I send you love and light.